Well, from one economic meltdown to another economic hotspot, that would be Greece. 5 years after the country sparked a debt crisis that threatened the euro's survival, it has the potential to rattle the eurozone once again. The presidential vote has begun shaking the financial markets, and with many expecting the vote to fail, there's a strong possibility of political upheaval to follow. Well, our economics editor Paul Mason is in Athens. Paul, lucky you.
Matt, just behind me in the Greek Parliament, they've just failed to elect a president of the country. They get 3 goes, but if by the 29th of December they fail altogether, we get a general election, and the opinion polls tell us that it will be the far-left party Syriza that will win that. Now, that means a big thing, actually, for Europe. It means that the European Union faces one of its countries being ruled by a party that simply is opposed to austerity. It will put a stop to austerity, and it says it will start the fight back against austerity across the continent.
Officially, there is growth now in Greece, but for a country that's lost a quarter of its whole economy to austerity in the past 4 years, the feel-good factor is just not there. In the port suburb of Perama, you can see what 25% unemployment means. Middle-aged people with time to kill, the young either gone somewhere else or thinking about it. For those who don't emigrate, there is a new term, the precarious worker, or precariat. This man is a graduate and a trained teacher. The only work he can get is as a part-time cook.
There's no chance of me finding a job in my field unless I pray and beg to get a job in a private kindergarten, to get paid €3 an hour to teach. €3 an hour.
He's part of a youth movement called I Will Stay, but with wages still falling, it's a struggle.
Everything's falling apart. Everything you perceived as state, welfare, jobs, pensions, everything is collapsing around you, and you don't know what's going to happen in 1 week, in 1 month, and you don't plan.
He's one of millions of Greeks who say they'll vote for the far-left party, Syriza, if an election's called. With wages, pensions and public services slashed and all main parties signed up to the austerity, Syriza has grown from a motley alliance of activists to become the official opposition. And though the groups on this demo look like activists everywhere, here their party currently leads in the opinion polls.
It's not often in modern politics that a party with a banner that looks like this can form a government. But by the end of January in Greece, it's a realistic possibility that Syriza is in power.
And if the opposition on the streets looks slightly disorganised, inside Parliament they're preparing for radical change. The Marxist professor lined up to be finance minister wants Europe to write off half of Greece's €300 billion debt.
Why would the private sector invest in a country where the economics ministry is run by Marxist professors?
Because the left represents this very moment the real hope of change and the real hope of getting Greece back into a proper, normal economy and society as we know it.
But Greece is a country where political violence has become normal. This video from police helicopters earlier this month shows rioters hurling objects from the rooftops. The government says vote Syriza and you end up with a run on the banks and chaos on the streets.
This is not an international conspiracy by the government telling the Financial Times, the New York Times, I don't know, international analysts, bankers, etc., to create fear. Fear is real. I mean, when Syriza visited the markets in London, there was fear.
A party of the far left running a eurozone economy is becoming imaginable. As for running a state whose police have clashed regularly with your own supporters, that might be a taller order.
And Matt, there's no panic here because people assume, including in the financial markets, that if it comes to power, Syriza will negotiate with the European Central Bank and try and achieve its programme that way. But the real possibility of change doesn't come from some kind of market meltdown. It comes from the fact that if a government in Greece can take a stand successfully against the central policy of austerity, then what's going to happen is other countries will. Spain, above all, has a very similar party, standing very similar position in the polls. And these guys here do, if they win the majority here, they do want to start a Europe-wide movement to stop austerity. Matt.
We'll be watching. Paul Mason in Athens, thanks very much.